Okay, we're going to dive into some head wall flashing. Head wall flashing is when you have flashing at a wall. When you have flashing at a chimney, it's going to be an apron flashing. So head wall flashing from the NRCA, this is their detail that we're looking at, and it shows the metal, the white metal there over the top of the shingles, back behind a counter flashing, and then the counter flashing is sealed. That counter flashing can be siding if you have siding on the wall. It can be all different types of counter flashing and all different types of siding. But the gist that we're looking for is it's sealed at the wall, and then the metal flashing is on top of the shingles to keep the water shedding down off the shingles. Now we're going to look at everything else that everybody does that's not right. So the worst thing you can do to a piece of metal to keep it from being watertight is to put holes in it, and that's what this picture here is of. So we have the flashing coming down across the top of the roof, but they put shingles over the top of it. And instead of putting roof cement or some type of sealer on top of those shingles to seal them down, they've nailed it, because that's just the easiest thing to pa-pow, pa-pow, all the way through. They're nailing into that piece of metal. So what's keeping the metal from leaking, right? Well, that shows us right here, it's got caulking. You caulk that edge, clear caulk, black caulk, whatever kind of caulking you want to use. Is that caulking going to last 20 years like it says on the container, 20-year caulk? No, it's not, because that caulking is trying to seal a granulated surface of the shingles to a painted surface of the metal. It's going to crack loose within a year, 2 years, max, as we have temperature change and all that stuff. So that is not the right way to do this. When you're inspecting a roof, you have to notice these things and let the owner know, hey, this is the wrong detail, and have the other detail. This is what the manufacturer says, and the National Roofing Contractor Association says the detail should look like, and this is what yours looks like. Again, now you got the metal going over the top of the shingles and the counter flashing behind it. You can see the contrast in the two. And now we've got some really great pictures here of what not to do. This one here is a great picture. There's a lot to learn on this one, a lot to teach on this one. The main thing I want you to get out of this picture is don't be overwhelmed. When you see something like this up on the roof, don't be overwhelmed. Just step back, like literally, don't go off the edge of the roof, step back a little bit as far as you can, and then start taking pictures. Start taking pictures from your left. Get an overview of what's over here, half of that area and the next area, half of that area, the next area, half of that area, all the way around. So we get a whole idea of what's going on this roof. And then we want to zoom in a little bit on this particular detail or details around here and measure everything, measure it top to bottom, length and width, close-up pictures of what this looks like a little bit farther away so we can understand what's going on here. We can see that there's no metal flashing, there's no step flashing, no head wall flashing, there's a window involved, there's a lot of stuff going on. So don't be overwhelmed, and measure, take pictures, and then bring that back to somebody else at the office, and let's talk about it and see what our options are for the customer. This is a great picture, several pictures here about how it's supposed to be done in real life. So we're not looking at some schematic in a drawing room, but this is real life. These are what these roofers did. Unfortunately, it's not our job, but we found this job, and it's a really great looking roof. You can see that the metal goes over the top of the shingles. It's got some fasteners in it because it is such a long stretch, but those fasteners are screws with grommets. So there's a grommet that's nicely smushed. You can't see the grommet. The grommet is now protected from the sun, so it's not going to deteriorate over time. It's going to keep the water out. There's a hem on the metal, just a beautiful detail around this wall. And then we get to something that looks like this. So again, this is where we don't just have a J-channel or a metal counter flashing or something behind that head wall flashing, but now you have maybe some type of concrete stucco, or maybe it's just EIFS back there that's really dirty. That's a big deal to take that flashing out. And sometimes you can leave it in there, but now you have to put a surface mounted flashing to that or something, so you can put the metal flashing over the top of the shingles, and then whatever is against the wall is going to have to be sealed somehow, and not with caulking. This one here, some of these are just amazing that people actually do this. I want to say that they're not roofers. Well, they're definitely not roofers, but I'm not sure what's going on. But you can see from what the NRCA had and then what the other picture of the good detail versus this, that nothing on here is done correctly. So here's a picture just of a chimney where it has the apron flashing, a little bit different name because it's around a chimney, and then the masonry wall and the counter flashing. Here's a detail kind of like that where you have roof to wall metal coming down, but there is none. It's just the area coming down with roof cement, and then another head wall flashing or apron flashing, roof cement all over the place. Not a good picture to have. This happens a lot. So you have a window that's rotted out, and then you have the top line of the shingles that they didn't even bother putting that row of shingles across as a cap. That's just the last shingle in the row, and it's just wide open. So any water coming down that wall against the window is going to come right under the roof. That's a bad detail, and we have to catch those. Here, the same thing. It's just not installed properly, but it's good to look at stuff like this, so when you see it in real life, you're not too shocked. Roof cement, yeah, just show you the picture so you can see what's going on. It's unbelievable. Roof cement, everybody gets roof cement. It looks bad.